Shall we start? Shall we make a start?
Yes, sir. They're waiting.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to another session from the Association of Gospel Medical Missionaries International. It's nice to have you all back again on another Saturday afternoon, and I'm sure what we've got in store for you may be beneficial to you in more ways than one. Gospel Medical Association is made up of a group of various people, but the main ones for the men's section that I've got here is Jason Williams, Noel Fender, Jonathan Curlew, Lewis Harris, Chris Higgins, and Edgar Wallace. So our main speakers for the day will be Jason Williams, along with his colleagues, Dr. Comoso and Victor Koza, along with a member of the medical missionary team, Jonathan Curlew. So we've got quite a packed program, so I would like us to sit back, and I'm sure we'll enjoy it as we go on. Before we go on, I'm just going to ask Jonathan just to read us the disclaimer, please, before we go any further. Over to you, John.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this program. We thank you for joining us. A small disclaimer here: only a physician can diagnose, treat, and prescribe for illnesses or disease. Any information disclosed on this platform or Zoom talk show or presentation and/or live demonstration is for educational purposes only. Please continue to seek professional medical advice from your general practitioner regarding any illnesses or disease you may be suffering from.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jonathan. Have we got Jason? Are you there yet, Jason? Can someone unmute Jason? Hi, Jason.
Hi, how you doing?
Fine, fine. Yes. Nice to have you, man. Yes.
Blessings. Good to see you again. Always a pleasure.
All right. I hope it's not raining across there in South Africa.
No, man. Look at our weather. Look.
All right. Okay.
But don't let it trick you. Yeah, it's not exactly warm. It's bright, but it's not warm.
Right. Okay. Probably similar to what we've got here. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a nice day.
Good. Right. Well, we've done all the preliminaries now, so it's just over to you, Jason. I understand you've got Dr. Comoso and you've got Victor with you this morning. You've got a team this afternoon with you.
Yes. We're coming up from South Africa as a team today. I think it's the first time we're coming on this platform as a team.
Right.
And we're happy to do so. It's probably not going to be the last time, but you know, as things change and as we develop from stage to stage and strength to strength, we bring content that we believe will be ongoing and progressive and beneficial to the people. So this is another step in that direction.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yes, without any further ado, Jason, we're just going to hand over to you, and you can bring your team in as and how you see fit at this time.
All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be the first one that goes on. I'm going to do just a video. I've got some video uplink from work that we have been doing here in South Africa, just as a testimony. Probably take about 5 minutes, 6 minutes for both of the testimonies. And then I will let Victor do his brief presentation in a demonstrative way. And then afterwards, we'll hand over to the main presenter, which is Dr. Comoso. But me and Victor will go first. I will go with the testimony, Victor with the demonstration, and then Dr. Comoso will with the main program for today.
Okay, that's fine. Right.
All right. Okay, yeah. So, right. Administrator, give me some access so I can show my screen. If hosts as disabled participant screen. Yeah, make me host so I can show my screen. I want to just do a testimony using videos. Now, Good afternoon, everyone that's listening. Welcome once again. For those of you who have been with us and has been on the journey, we just like to say we appreciate your support, and we encourage you to continue to support us in just attending and showing us interest or showing interest in health. Your attendance mean much to us, because our work is to share what the Lord has shared with us to be a blessing to health. We know that we cannot do much without health. Our motto here at this center is health is not everything, but without your health, everything is nothing. And we just like to always mention that until it sink into our head that our health is very, 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 very important. Whilst we can hide our spiritual health by dressing up in a nice suit and wearing a wonderful tie and doing our religious rites and practices weekly and daily, when it comes to your health, when you have cancer and it's reached its latter stage, you cannot hide it. It's like pregnancy. You can only hide it for a while, but sooner or later, when it manifests itself, there's no way you can hide it. And so physical health is like that. And that's how it differs from spiritual health. You can hide your spiritual state by just formalities, but you will only be so formal with your physical health. And when it manifests, it will stop you or demand your urgent and absolute attention if you want to continue with anything else. So health is not everything, but without health, everything is nothing. That's our intro line. Today, I believe you have given me access to be able to share my screen. Thank you very much. I just want to share a few testimonies. We have been talking, we've been saying this, we've been telling you how to eat, how to drink, what not to do, this herbs and that and that and that. And it's somewhat theoretical, but it is practical. We have seen it work. We have had good experiences. The human body, we are biologically different. According to our body works, anatomy and physiologically, yes, there is premise that this is how it works, but we are genetically and biologically different. So one thing will work for somebody at a certain level, at a certain dose, at a certain frequency, in terms of how much time you use it, and you'll get ultimate benefit. Another person will come down with the same condition, you try the same thing, and you will get minimal result. So it is important that one is able to know how their system works, and for the practitioner or the healthcare provider at that time to be able to have that insight, to know that, okay, this is what you have, just like the other person, but it might need different intervention to deal with you based on your physiological makeup and how your system is working in entirety. All right, so what I'm going to share with you now is a few folks that we have worked with. We got lots of folks, we got lots of testimonies. We get them in weekly. Testimonies come my phone. If I don't get them in a week or two, I can safely say at least once a month we get wonderful testimonies from things as from diabetes, blood pressure. We get them, they happen. All right, so I'm going to just take two testimonies with folks we have worked with, and these are people that has been to this clinic, and we have done the diet and lifestyle changes with them, just to give you an encouragement to show you that these things actually work. And if you are doing it and it's not working for you, it doesn't mean that it's not because it doesn't work. It means that we just need to adjust it for you. Hence, that's why it's important to have somebody to work with. Okay, the first one that I want to share with you is a gentleman that, let me see if I can get, can you see my screen now?
We can see you, yes, but we can't see the present. If you've got a presentation up.
All right, don't worry. Let me see if I can do it this way. Is it this one? Yeah. How is that?
Yes. Yes.
Can you see another screen? Yeah.
Yeah, we can see an image. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Now, this is a gentleman, he had diabetes, it was running at 15. Even when he was on his medication, he was just having terrible control of it. But here's what happened within 10 days. Can you hear?
Yes, I have been diabetic, and I started my 10 days detox
Yes, we can hear him.
You got it, yeah? It's playing
Yeah.
clearly, yes?
Yes.
All right, now, good. That's good to know. So diabetes is a terrible disease. I always say to people, you think cancer is bad, but diabetes is actually worse, because what it does, diabetes will kill you slowly and it will keep you alive while it does it, yeah? So it will start, at first it will kill your nerves, and then afterwards it start killing your organs, and it will just take you apart little by little by little by little, and it can take years, but it is a terrible disease like that. It can take its time and wind you down to nothing. And just taking medication is not good enough. Medication is not good enough. You need to get rid of this condition. Here is a simple example of some of the work we have done in this field with diabetes. Okay, testimony 1.
Yes, I have been diabetic, and I started my 10 days detox from my 12.5 blood sugar. On my 3rd day in the morning, it dropped down to 7.9 on the day. Then I carried on after 7 days. On my last day, then it came down to 7.2, which is now after 10 days of my detox process.
When did you do that last test? This morning, right?
The last test I did this morning.
And how much was it?
It was 7.2.
Wow.
7 o'clock.
How do you feel?
I'm feeling very well.
And you've been eating?
According to the instruction, eating a lot of vegetables.
Have you been eating any meat?
No, I haven't eaten meat for the last 10 days.
Wow.
I will my first day to eat meat this evening.
Don't eat too much. All right, so that's our first testimony. You heard he was very honest in what he did and what he was about to do. So he was on a meat-free diet for 10 days, and it did the trick in reversing his diabetes. And that you can also do as well. I've got a second one as well before I go. It is, let me get my technical guy to come and help me. Play. How's that? Can you see it?
No, we can hear it, but can't see it.
Okay. Well, it's fine. We'll have to. All right, here it is. You should see it now.
Yes, we have. Yes, yes.
You're seeing it now, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. Let me play it for you.
Activate, yes.
Can you see it and hear it?
Yes.
I've been diagnosed as having cancer. This was done in August 2016, which is this year. It's 5 months ago. I heard of Omdemane a month ago when they were supposed to be opening the institution. I only attended Omdemane for the last 2 weeks. When I came here, I was still full of cancer cells. I was very weak. When I came here, I was given a vegetable diet or vegetable plan, which I'm following. I've been also been given extra help in the form of foot massage or foot detox, hydrotherapy, as well as oxygen therapy. The combination of these things have seen a reversal of cancer cells from my blood or from my body. I did some blood tests at Hillcrest Hospital. The results came 3 days ago, and I was found no longer to have cancer. This morning, which is Friday, I also went for a scan in Hillcrest with Dr. Archie Wilson. Her scan results also show that I no longer have cancer. But I'm still going on using the vegetables that I've been using, because now I know that that is the best way to go. Thank you very much.
And how would you say in all of this, where would you put God in this whole thing? Where would you place God in the therapies and diet and all of this? Where would you place God?
I think and I believe that God, when He first created us and gave us a veggie diet, He knew what He was doing. It was only us who opted for meat. And the meat you are eating and all these other things that you are using, they are actually killing us. If we go back to vegetables and fruits, we are going back to God's way.
Okay, Pastor, thank you very much. That's me for the testimonies. Can you hear me? I'm back again.
Yes, yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
And so that's just two of many. We have many, ranging from, as I just shared, something as simple as diabetes and something as severe as cancer. And then everything that will come in between that, whether it be minor or major, we have dealt with it with reasonably success. Not everybody, because as I said, not everybody is the same. And so, but we have had good success. In other words, we know that according to how the human body works, once we relieve it of its pressure and toxins and give it what it needs, we understand that it has got the ability to restore itself. We have a little flower garden here, and we notice that there's deficiencies and there's bacteria and stuff that's troubling the leaves. And we have two, actually. We have one in the front and one in the back. And what we notice is that though they were planted the same time, the same vegetable, same type of vegetable was planted in the same time, one of them flourished tremendously and the other did not flourish so well. When we check it out, it's to do with the quality of soil. Same fruit, same vegetable, same everything. It's just that something was biologically different. The soil was different. The same thing happens when it comes to success and failure with chronic diseases and diseases. Sometimes the setting, the environment of the internal body is not correct and conducive for healing. And so that's where we have to work out. Though it's the same vegetable, though it's the same body, so it's the same organs, we got to work out what is going on according to that person individually. Though they might be the same, we need to understand why. And so that is what we do here. But we have had good success with that understanding, knowing that we don't do no healing. We don't claim none of that on our side. What we do understand is that God, the Creator, the Almighty Himself, has created this body with the ability to restore and repair once it has what it wants. So that's just a few testimonies, Pastor. I don't know if anybody's got any questions. If not, I'm just going to turn around to Victor, and then Victor will take you through a wonderful little presentation, demonstration. Sorry. Okay, any questions? If not, we can move on and turn around.
Any questions from anyone? Okay, if you haven't got a question, you can be thinking about one. If you can think about your question and write it down, either put it on the chat or come back to us in between the presentation. That would help very good. At this time, yeah, we can have Victor now, Jason, if you don't mind.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Let me do a technical turn. It's technique rather than technical. Here you go, sir. There is our good old Victor.
Okay, Victor. Nice to see
Hello,
you.
how are you?
Fine. You?
Good.
Right. Go ahead, yes.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Victor Koza here in South Africa. Thank you very much, Jason, for a presentation. I'm here with Kamtomane working with them. My major is specifically in food and nutrition as a consumer scientist, qualified consumer scientist. Our responsibility or my line of work here is to make sure that when people come into our center, or when we help everyone who's sick, but we use the food as a method of healing, we say it's better to prevent diseases or illnesses rather than to cure. So food is one of our greatest, measures in making sure that people are okay. Now, Jason spoke about what a very important topic or subject, diabetes, which we've seen many people coming here. And especially in South Africa, our staple food, we use a lot of processed foods, especially when it comes to starches. We use your white processed maize meal. We also use your white processed rice. And then, but we introduce them to a wider variety of sources of starches, like your brown basmati, like your whatever, your madumbes, which is what they know. But today I want to speak about raw banana. Raw banana. We know it as a fruit in South Africa that you only incorporate it in fruit salads. And some people in other parts of the country, I mean, of the planet, so to speak, they use banana in different forms. But I want us to actually look at the benefits of banana, especially when it comes to diabetes, when it comes to iron deficiency, anemia, how you can use it, especially those who use it as a porridge, how you can fortify your porridge. Now, it has got amazing benefits. When I've studied it as a South African, we never really knew if you can eat banana raw. We only know banana to be eaten when it's ripe, when it's yellow. Now, the difference between a ripe yellow banana and this banana here is that the ripe banana, which is yellow, is very sweet. So we don't always advise, or we don't advise people who are diabetic to eat so much of the yellow or ripe banana. So, but we are saying you can use the unripe banana, which is the green banana, raw as it is. When we present this to people, they just think I'm crazy. When I can tell them that you can eat this specifically. But now, one of the most fascinating things that even though the ripe banana is sweet, this one also, it does have an amount of sweetness, but it's not as when it's ripe. So because it's a fruit. Now what you can do, you can cook it, grind it, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to explain to you how you can use it. Those who know, you can just listen to the latter part of the presentation. It is very high in starch and in fiber. The reason why I'm saying that is because not only fiber, but not only fiber and starch, what you call the resistant starch. When you eat food that is very sweet, that has got so much starch, but doesn't have fiber, it's fast releasing in your bloodstream. It basically affects your blood sugar levels in your blood. So if you are diabetic, if you eat raw banana, it will also help you, but it is slow releasing in your blood. So in other words, when you eat it now, it won't affect your blood sugar levels so much because it's raw. But because it's green, but when it's yellow, then it's going to be a problem, because as you are going to be eating it, then it spike your blood sugar levels high. Now, second thing about it is that it contains vitamin B6, 40% of vitamin B6 in it, which helps the production of hemoglobin. There are people who don't have enough blood, red blood cells, because especially suffer from iron deficiency anemia. So if you've got that problem, so the raw banana is high in vitamin B6, which helps you in the production of hemoglobin, also which helps your blood to have a capacity to carry oxygen into the various parts of your body. So this is a very good source of B6. You need B6, especially women who may have shortage of such components in their blood. And also, I spoke about the glycemic index is very low. So I spoke about that. It means it doesn't release fast into the bloodstream, the sugar. When you taste it, you can feel that it's sweet, but it doesn't affect your blood sugar glucose. And it also contains vitamin E, which is important for, they call it the short chain fatty acids, which improves your body's ability to absorb certain nutrients. So this is also very important. Now I'm going to demonstrate to you how you use it. This is a raw banana. It's not easy to peel, unlike when you have it ripe. So you cut the two tips of it like this. Make sure you don't cut yourself. And then there are little edges here, the line that are going down. Make sure that you put your knife here and go down it to open a room for you to peel it. Just make sure, because when you peel it like this, you're running a risk of taking away the nutrients that you need just underneath the skin. And then after that, your hands must be very strong to do this. So you see, it's only the cover that is going out, but the banana remains. So now what you are trying to do, you are trying to process it and making sure that you prepare it so that you may be able to eat. I hope you see it. Now, when it's peeled like this, all right. So here you have your banana. It's when you feel it's stronger, it's starchy. But now you can boil it maybe 2 of them in water, and put a pinch of salt in it, and then put it on your plate, and then you can put it. It can be a source of your starch. For example, if you have your madumbe, you've got your rice, but in substituting that, you can put this banana boiled as it is, and then put your protein there, your salad, and make it a meal. So if you want to use it as like that on your lunches, you can use it. But I like to eat it in the morning because it gives me energy also. Because remember, it's a source of starch, which gives me glucose for my muscles. So you use this, you boil it, or you can chop it, slightly boil it, and then you can fry it or bake it as you like. Put some condiments in it. It will still maintain the nutritional values of it. But also what I like when I was trying is to make it a porridge. So what I did here, I turned it into a porridge. So I'm just letting you know that you can boil it and eat it like that, as soft as it is, or you can make it as a porridge, or you can just fry it. It depends on what you want. But remember, it is a source of starch. So in other words, as you have it, you don't need to have other rice or putu or pap or whatever. You can have it as a source of starch. So what I made here, I made a porridge. I don't know if you can see it. This is our porridge.
Yeah.
This is our porridge. So I made a porridge out of it. What I did, I took 3 bananas, I chopped them finely, and I put them into a blender. All right. When you put them into a blender, so remember 3 bananas like these ones, and then you put 2 cups of water, and then you start blending it. Now, as you blend it, make sure that you have at least 2 cups of water also in the pot while it's boiling. And then after you've blended this one, and then it should be soft. It should be like sort of like not a liquidish, but in the middle, And as you pour it into the pot, and then you must use this thing here and continue with, so that you can slightly continue stirring for 15 minutes. But others, if you don't have a blender, you can also grate it, but it won't be as soft as when you blend it. But again, as you put into a pot, you must continue stirring. Like put your what you call your heat into low temperature, low, so that it may not burn. So, but make sure that you see to it. If it's very hard, consistency is very hard, not liquidish, you must continue pouring water. Make sure that it's not liquidish, but in the middle. Keep on stirring for 15 minutes. Now, at the end of the day, you come up with this one. Now, for you, because you want to be healthy, you can use this in the morning. Now, what is very important is understanding that it has its own benefits. You must always fortify your breakfast, your cereal, so that as you go throughout the day, you may have benefits from it. So what I did, you put your coconut oil as you cook before you switch the stove off. Put your coconut oil in it because it's good for your brain also. It's good for your health. So you just want to make sure that you have that flavor. You can put a flavored one or unflavored one. So other people will put rama in their porridge. So I'm saying put coconut oil is very safe. It's very good, especially those who are growing up. They've got, sometimes they get dementia. So coconut oil is very good for that. So put it in your porridge is also good. But not only that, put your this is wheatgrass, because I want to get energy, I want to get protein from it. It's also good for vitamin B1, B2, folic acid, and vitamin C. So you put the vitamin C you need, especially in this era of COVID-19 and other viruses. So you fortify it, because you just want to eat it after it has been fortified. And not only eat, you put your cocoa. Wheatgrass, I don't put much of it because it's green. I don't like green. I like brown color. So just put half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of it, or let me say half a teaspoon of it, because it changes color. And then you put your cocoa. Cocoa is also very important. Improves also your brain, and it also helps with your blood pressure, and also especially gives you the mood. From the day, boosts your mood, it secretes those hormones those chemicals in your brain that are responsible for giving your mood for the day. So as you start the day, you know that you are good to go. And you also berry beetroot. This is berry beetroot, also a source of protein for your porridge. And then I put them in these ramekin dishes so that it's half a teaspoon of it, and half a teaspoon of these ones. And then just you incorporate it on your porridge. Just make sure that you don't put much of it. Incorporate it in your porridge, because remember, you want to make sure that on your breakfast, as you start the day, everything you receive everything on your system, and then you stir it. Now, when it comes to sweetening it, I would not advise you to put your processed white sugar or brown sugar. I always use honey to sweeten my porridges. All right, but if you don't want to use honey, you can use molasses. You have sweet molasses or blackstrap molasses. It's also a good source of iron for women, for even men. You can use this one because you need to have your blood, the amount of iron in your blood. So this is now your porridge, okay? if the consistency therefore is not good for you, you can also add your milk. So, but now let me never go back. In blending it, if you don't want to put water, you can also put your milk. This is plant-based milk. This is soya milk. You can also use your other source of plant-based milk. It depends on what you want. But if you don't want to put water, as you blend the raw banana, you can use milk. It also will do the trick. So this is now how you make the banana porridge in the morning. But not only porridge. There are people who do workouts. There are people who do bodybuilding. You know, after you work out, you can just make sure that the consistency is liquidish. And then you can make it as a drink also. You can put your milk in it and fortify it also with your protein shake, with your protein powders and whatever I've spoken here. And then you can put your honey. And then you can drink this maybe 30 minutes or 15 minutes after you work out. It will boost your system. It will then give you what you need. If you want to be a bodybuilder, if you want to be to get energy for the day, especially those who do physical labor, you go to the fields, you work and you come back, you're tired. This will give you enough energy for the day. It will also supplement you, because especially when you speak about, you must the source of starches that you mustn't eat the processed starches. We always say you must buy your brown rice, your brown yellow maize meal, and people complain that it's expensive and all those things. But banana is very cheap. It is available, especially in the coastal areas, where, especially in South Africa and KwaZulu-Natal, you can get your banana. You don't need to wait for it to be ripe, but you need to make sure that you can even eat it, cook it like that, and the absorption of iron, especially when it's raw, it's very high. So make sure that you can incorporate it in your food. Remember, you can boil it like that, eat it, or you can just make it as a porridge. These are the two things that I've made. This is a protein shake drink. This is a porridge. Both of them can work wonders in your own system. I think I want to end there for today. This was my just short little presentation on how you can then diversify. In nutrition, you speak of dietary diversification. Don't focus on one source of food, but also incorporate others so that you can get the benefits of it. There's a lot of things I can discuss about this, but it is very good, especially us as men and women, as we start the day and during the day in getting ourselves healthy for the day. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you very much, Victor. Thank you very much. Any question on that presentation? It was pretty straightforward. Those of us who haven't had banana porridge before, is there anything anyone would like to ask regarding Victor's presentation?
No. There's no question. Thank you very much.
So you all understand now how to make banana porridge?
They all understand. They are going to be starting.
There was a question to Jay.
No, we'll take the questions afterwards. Let's go to Dr. Lewis.
We'll take the question afterwards. So thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, Jason, over to you to introduce Dr. Kamosa.
Okay. Hi, everybody again. Dr. Kamosa, are you there? Dr. Louisa?
Yes, she's there. She's just.
Yes, you'll unmute her, admin. So, Dr. Kamosa, push your laptop screen down a little bit. Just pull the screen down a bit.
Yes, that's better.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is I'm once again, welcome to everyone who wasn't at the start of the presentation. We're talking about health for everybody. It's a men's health group, but Mr. Sterling, it becomes a problem. I'm telling you, because what's happening, people we're hearing all these great stuff for our husband, and we are not prepared. You're making them strong and keeping us weak. So we're having that kind of comment coming in. So we decided to not change the rules, but accommodate so we can strengthen both parties. We don't want to create unequal things here. We want to create balance.
Right.
So, you understand what I'm saying, Mr. Sterling, right?
Yes, I do understand. And this sort of presentation, I think we can probably make allowances for the women to
yes. It's about a family thing. It's about family. Men, we need strength. We are the head of the family. We need strength. But as one of those old-time singers says, a man is nothing without a woman. So we don't want to leave them too far behind, if you know what I mean. and even in our presentation method this week, which is a milestone in how we are advancing and how we are integrating and how we're moving forward. Even at this milestone in our presentation, we've been on here for how many weeks now, Mr. Selly?
7.
7 weeks, perfect number. We know that God works in perfect numbers of 7. We see that from the day. So at this point, as we evolve, we decided that we would evolve not only on the platform where women can also join in and listen in attentively, but also on the presentation aspect, we will have integrated a female to also present, so women don't feel left out and men don't feel that we are the boss all the time, even though we are some of the time, if you know what I mean. All right, so Dr. Komoso, she works with us. She's our resident physician here at our wellness clinic in South Africa. She's been with us perhaps about 2 years and some, nearly 3 years, if not 3 years now. We work together as a team, myself, her, Victor, and we have others of the team as well. But today you will hear a presentation from our resident physician, Dr. Louisa Makapi. Doc, it's yours.
Thank you very much, Jason. I hope and trust that everybody can hear me. I just have a presentation to share, if you can allow me. I want to kind of bring together everything that has been presented over the time and what is being presented today. Just allow me to share my screen, please. Because we've spoken a lot about diet change, we've spoken about men's health, and they all seem to be in different categories. I think last week, Jason started talking about the body-mind connection. So today I will show how the body, the mind, and the sugar affects us, so that you can see why it's important to remember the recipe that Victor made there. So,
yeah,
here we go. The body-mind connection. Who is in control of you? Is it your body? Is it your mind? I'm just waiting for my screen to come up. And the reason we thought this was important is that you're hearing all these things about all the changes you're supposed to make. And then you go home and you find yourself eating the donuts, the meat, exactly the things that you know you're not supposed to eat. And you're wondering, what's wrong with me? I know better, but I don't do better. Okay. Let me try that again. Okay, let me just find my slides. It seems to have disappeared. Just give me a moment. Body, mind. All right, so just bear with me as my screen is coming up. As I was saying, what we eat affects how we think. And I'm just having a challenge with my screen.
Let me help you.
But I think it's about to open up.
Yeah. Once you open it, then you share it.
Yeah.
Find it. Yeah. That.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was just.
Share it now.
I just need to. It was when I did this that it took its time and it disappeared. Wait, don't go. Yeah, but the last time it disappeared. Okay, wonderful. So the question is, who is in control of your actions? I don't need to see myself. There we go. A lot of us are going through this. You find yourself, it's in the evening tonight, the desires of your heart are saying, I want to eat that dried meat if you're South African, I want to drink that milk, I want to eat that meat, I want to eat that cake for us ladies. And your brain is saying, wait, hang on, let's think about this because we've learned something different. How many of us find ourselves in that situation? And that is the reality. Just because you know to do something does not make it easy to do it. And this is what I want us to look at, this fight between what we know we're supposed to do and what our heart desires us to do. And I will explain what I mean by the heart and all of that. So as our minds are transforming, the body does not necessarily follow. In Hebrews, I think it's Hebrews 12, it says, be not, Romans 12, be not conformed to the world. So we've been teaching reformation, and the mind is understanding that, oh, I need to go on a plant-based diet, I need to reduce this and that, I need to stop a couple of other things. But even though the mind is transforming and you're learning new things, Romans 7:15, Jason mentioned it about, I think 2-3 weeks ago. For what I'm doing, I do not understand. For what I want to do, or what I choose and decide to do, I don't practice it. But what I don't want to practice, that I do. You decide that you're going to exercise, but you find that you're not exercising. You decide that you're going to eat healthy, you're not eating healthy. You say you're going to drink water, you're not doing the things you know you ought to be doing. This is the greatest battle that we have. And when you can understand that, you need to know that this is a daily battle. Some things may become easy to give up. I have no problem with giving up meat, but I have a great problem with giving up chocolates, and cakes and chocolate chip cookies and coffee. So I have to make that a daily battle. My mind tells me, you should not have these things. My heart's desire says, what are you talking about? We haven't had cappuccino in like 3 years. And for all of us, this is happening with one thing or another. I hope I'm making sense to everybody so far. So once you can understand the battle, just because the battle is going on doesn't mean you need to give up. Day by day, you need to fight yourself until it becomes a norm. Generally, when you're starting something, it takes about 63 days. I know they say 21 days, but those are cycles, 3 cycles of 21 days for it to become really part of who you are. But it can take something, a small stress. I know when I'm stressed, I want to eat cake and I want to drink coffee because I feel that my brain is not working. But I don't let that determine that now I'm going to drink coffee every day. I hope this is making sense, this battle inside of us. And the reason this is happening is that as people, we are 3 parts in one. We've got the body, which is what I'm going to focus on today. The body, and I will explain, I'll go into detail. Then we've got our soul, or what we call the mind. This is where we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind and an unconscious mind. And this is where we think, we feel, and we choose. And then we have our internal spirit. And we can see this, it's, I don't know if I put it somewhere. It's, if you read 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, towards the end, Paul writes about that you are spirit, you are mind, soul, and you are body. And may God sanctify you and keep you whole. So these are the 3. I will not be talking about the spirit at all. I will be talking about the relationship between the body and the mind. I'm going to keep it to those 2 things. The body involves your 5 senses, your nerves. Remember the nervous system that Jason explained when he was talking about erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation. That's just part of the body. And during that same topic, we're talking about if that part of the body is not working well, it doesn't matter how much in your mind you want to go on longer. If the part of the body is not working, your mind cannot override certain things. So let's come into the battle between the body and the mind. The body is your structure, what you're looking at now, your physical anatomy, including your brain and your nerves and your brain chemicals. These are part of your body, your structure, okay? It includes the function of the body. The body does not discern between what is right or wrong. The body in itself, without our mind, is animalistic in function. It wants to eat, it doesn't care what it eats. It wants to sleep, it doesn't care what time of the day it must sleep. It wants to reproduce, it doesn't care with who. The body just knows that I need to do these things to be able to continue living. And it's highly dependent on your five senses, what you see, what you smell. I'll give you an example. Earlier today, I had determined that I'm going to finish my presentation before I eat. And then the guys were eating, and so I could smell the food. I mean, it was smelling so delicious. My body said, we must eat. It literally started to make saliva. My tummy started to grumble. And there was a battle between my body because of the sense that I had smelled the food, and then I went and I saw it and I remembered how it tasted. So I gave in to my body and I ate. But I was aware of the battle and I knew what was going on. If I wanted to, I could have, but I just didn't have the energy to do that. So this is what I'm saying to us. We need to have the energy daily to not be ruled by our body, because it will do just what it wants to do. It will not concern itself with the consequences of our actions. Imagine if, as human beings, when we saw somebody that we liked, irregardless of whether we're married, irregardless of whether they're ours or they're somebody else's, we wanted to reproduce with them. Sometimes this is what we do, and there are consequences to that. That's because the body will respond, but the mind is supposed to have an input into it and say, is this right? Is this wrong? So you see a piece of steak in front of you, the body says, eat it, it is food. Your mind should be able to say, but if I eat it, these are the consequences, and this is how it's going to affect the body, the mind, my spirit, and my relationship with other people. I hope this is making sense. And then the mind elevates us to a level of humans, which is literally what differentiates us from animals. The mind is our ability to think and reason. It's what we call our intellect. So right now we're reasoning together as we're teaching. When I'm not talking to your body, I'm talking to your mind right now. I am seeking to influence your minds, to put into your minds knowledge that will hopefully help you to make better decisions. And these decisions will benefit both your body and hopefully your spiritual life as well. All right, so the mind is important for that. In determining and directing the direction of your body and the direction of your spirituality. The mind is also responsible for our emotions and our feelings. There needs to be, we should guard against being too reasoning too much and feeling too much. I won't go too much into that. We generally say that men reason and they rationalize and women feel. We're supposed to be balanced in terms of how we think and how we feel. And then the one important part of the mind is the will. This is the decision-making ability and the choice. The body can lead you, and it can say through you salivating and your stomach grumbling, saying, eat this chocolate cake or drink that beer or do this or do that. But you still have a choice in the matter. And even not exercising a choice in itself is a choice. So we have this, the mind, where we think, we reason, we feel, and we make choices. And then the mind in itself has three parts: the conscious, the subconscious, and unconscious. I hope we'll get to teach that on another day. But if we're not conscious, if we're not aware, there's a lady who came to the center and she wanted to go on a detox program. And she then went to a funeral, I believe. And when they were dishing out, she wasn't paying attention. So she allowed them to just give her anything. And she sat down and she ate. She said when the last spoonful had gone into her mouth, she realized she had eaten white rice and meat, and she was on a detox program. What happened to her there is that she was not conscious. She was not paying attention to what she was doing. So she just went back into her normal programming of eating anything and everything. When you're making lifestyle changes, it's important for you to use your conscious mind. Unfortunately, your conscious mind only makes about 5% of your entire mind. So you have to be consciously aware. If you're not constantly bringing yourself to this presentation, you can start daydreaming and thinking about other things that you need to do, and you're not really focused, which means this is not going to benefit you as much as you need to. So you may need to go back and rewatch this on YouTube, using your conscious mind, making sure that you're focused. So, but anyway, So this is the battle that happens between the body and the mind. And like I said, I'm leaving the spirit out of this. So if our mind is able to make choices to override our body, so can't we just eat anything and everything and then we will just, with our minds, decide to feel good and all of that? No, we need to have a healthier body because it's easier for the mind to control a healthy, well-functioning body than a diseased body. And I'm going to show you how. For example, when it comes to appetite, last week, Jason spoke about the hormones leptin and ghrelin, the ones that work as a brake and an accelerator, increasing appetite and telling you that you're full. If these hormones are not balanced, you will not be able to control your appetite. You will know that you're supposed to wait 5 to 6 hours in between meals, but you will find that every 2 hours you want to eat. So even though your mind knows that you're supposed to wait 5 to 6 hours, your hormones are telling you eat, eat, eat. And if you don't eat, what happens to you? You become grumpy. So you start shouting at family members. Your personal relationships get affected. You can't focus on your work. So you end up eating, which in itself then leads to more health issues. So you need help to balance those two hormones so that your mind is able to say, for anybody with these hormones that are balanced, if after 2 hours of eating, they're thinking, I want to eat again, right? The mind is able to say, no, you're not supposed to eat again. And then one hormone will go up and the other will go down. But if they're not working well, that control cannot be there. Another example of you need a healthy working body for your mind to be able to tell it what to do is in the instance of premature ejaculation. If the nervous system that Jason was talking about, which is the autonomic nervous system, if it's not healthy, if it's not working well, if it's oversensitive and over functioning, you cannot override it by thinking. So even though you're thinking, all right, I want to go long, because the system in itself is not healthy, your mind cannot tell it what to do. So it doesn't matter what you're thinking, then you will end up with premature ejaculation. But as the tone of your nerves get healthier, then what your mind says, your body is able to do. The other thing is consciousness. So I'm saying to you right now that you need to focus your mind and concentrate on the presentation. But if your blood sugar level is too low, you're having hypoglycemia, you cannot make yourself conscious. If your sodium levels in your blood are too low, you cannot make yourself think right. And this is important for people in relationships, I always say. If your partner has diabetes, or tend to have episodes of hypoglycemia, sometimes you may be arguing with them and thinking they're unreasonable, but in actual fact, their sugar levels and their sodium levels are right and they are wrong, and therefore they cannot think right. So this is why this is important. We need to have healthy bodies if we're to have healthy minds and healthy relationships. One of the commonest things we see at the center is people's moods. We see a lot of people with anxiety and with depression. 95% of a hormone called serotonin, not a hormone, a neurotransmitter called serotonin, which is supposed to be a brain chemical, is actually made in your gut. 95% of it. If your gut is not able to make it, what does it do? Serotonin gives you a feeling of well-being and it keeps you calm. If your gut is not able to make it, it doesn't matter how many pretty thoughts you try to have, you will remain anxious and irritable and not feeling well. So our hormones and the neurotransmitters, if they are unbalanced, no matter how much we try to meditate and think happy thoughts, we will continue to feel stressed and feel sad until we fix the body. Then the mind, what you dwell on, what you think on, can have a positive effect. I'm hoping this is helping you. If you're finding that you don't have the mind power to make the lifestyle change, it may be helpful to move in with somebody who is going to be your voice of reason and who's going to make decisions for you until you're able to come to a level where you gain that self-control for yourself. And I believe that's why some people come to the center for 10 days, because they can't go into the fridge and eat when they want to. But by the time they leave, they're in a stronger position to be able to exercise the power of their mind and their will over their body, because their body has come into a healthy level, and they know what they can use, what herbal remedies and teas and what foods they can use to strengthen their body and also strengthen their mind's ability to control them. All right, so the mind requires a healthy brain to function properly. There's a difference between a brain and a mind. The brain is an organ which is part of the body. The mind is the function of it, okay? So you need a good laptop for you to be able to have Zoom, which is a software. So you need to have the right hardware, which is your brain, for the software, which is your mind, to work well. I trust that that makes sense. So now, specifically today, having done that introduction, we want to look at continue with the body-mind series, the sugar, the gut, your brain, and the mind connection. So already we can suss that your sugar is going to ultimately affect your mind, but we want to see how it does it. I often find some people are like, oh, okay, if sugar affects my mind badly, I won't eat sugar. Some people want to know so that, you know, they can make better decisions. So this is why I'm explaining. Some of the things we need to understand when I'm talking about sugar, I'll be talking about anything that the body can break down into glucose. So when you eat a fruit, your body will break down into glucose. When you eat a potato, it will be broken down into glucose. When I talk about the gut, I'm talking about the digestive system, anything from the stomach, your small bowel to your colon. The brain, I'm talking about the organ in the brain. In the skull, I'm talking about with its lobes, the thing that you can touch. And the mind, remember, I'm talking about your functionality of thinking and feeling and decision making. Remember these three things, they're very important. Right now I'm talking and you're thinking, you're feeling either good about the knowledge you're receiving or you're feeling very bad because you must part with some things that you like, and then you need to make a decision. Don't forget that part, because otherwise we've just talked and talked and talked and it means nothing. You need to be able to make a decision after that. Am I going to do this or am I not going to do it? And it's good then it helps you move forward. Now let's look at sugar, because not all sugars are created the same. This is my own definition. I hope it will help you. We have refined sugars, we have simple sugars, we have complex sugars, and then we have a different category called resistant starch. And I added this and it will explain what the demonstration that Victor was doing with the unripe bananas. Refined sugars are anything that has been processed and therefore some components have been removed. So like when you have apple juice, the fiber of the apple has been removed. So it is refined, okay? The thing about refined sugars is that they can also be quickly broken down into single sugars. Like when you have something called high fructose corn syrup, which is found as a preservative in a lot of things. If you have canned fruits, there's a lot of that. You should not be eating that stuff, okay? And it quickly raises the blood sugar. Remember I said your blood sugar has an effect on your thinking. So now you need to be looking at refined sugars and you need to be thinking, this is going to affect my mind and my ability to make the right decisions in life. So I've given some examples of refined sugars, white sugar, white bread. The reason I've added white bread there and the refined is because a lot of the good nutrients have been removed from that, and including white rice, okay? Simple sugars, it's not more than 3 sugars linked together, so it's quickly also broken down. Simple sugars are not necessarily bad because fruits are simple sugars. But for somebody with diabetes, so with diabetes, it means you don't tolerate, your body is not able to deal with sugars well because there's a problem in your body. Even eating simple sugars may quickly raise your blood sugar levels, but we'll get into that. Then we have complex sugars. Complex sugars, it means there's more than just 3 sugars linked together. There's maybe 5, 7. So this is going to take a longer time to break them apart. And often these also have fiber in them, and they also have glycogen. Glycogen and starch are a complex form of carbohydrates. The banana has starch. It's a lot of complicated sugars together, but it may also have fiber, and some of the fiber is soluble, meaning it can be broken down. There's a difference between soluble and insoluble fiber. The insoluble fiber is that when you've eaten a lot of spinach, it's those things that the body cannot break down, and it's supposed to just work as a broom and clean your system. The soluble fiber, which is what can be called resistant starch, it's soluble fiber, not insoluble. What it does is it feeds the bacteria in your gut. Now, I didn't put a slide for this. I think I need to explain. We have more microorganisms. I'm talking about bacteria, viruses, fungi. We have more of those in and on our body than our own cells. Technically speaking, we are only 10% us. The other 90%, it's other organisms living on us. But these organisms are not all harmful to us. A lot of them are actually beneficial for our body. They protect us from more harmful organisms, and they make good byproducts for us. So we are supposed to have good microorganisms on us, and they're supposed to be fed. So when you eat something with resistant starch, like the porridge that Victor made, which is unripe banana, unripe banana has a starch that your body cannot break down. So it's literally going to pass through your system until it comes to your colon, which is where the good bacteria or microorganisms are. And they're going to have a party eating all of this thing. And in return, they'll make some things for you. So not everything you eat is for you. Some of it is for the 90% of the other organisms that are living on you. If you don't have those organisms, you are at risk of being invaded by organisms, colonized by organisms that are not for your benefit. So be careful, especially if you've been taking a lot of antibiotics. Because we've got women today, make sure you breastfeed your children, all right? Because you're introducing good organisms into their gut. And make sure that you don't cook the breast milk, okay? Because you kill the good bacteria. Otherwise, you can have the resistant starch, and you can eat your fermented foods, as we've spoken about, like your sauerkraut, and in South Africa, your fermented grains like maheu, which brings in the good bacteria, and then you feed the good bacteria with the resistant starch. This is where the sugars are important. The sugars, when they come in, either they're feeding you, or they're feeding the good bacteria, or they're feeding the bad bacteria. And all of it is going to have an impact on you, how you feel, and how you think, how your brain is, and how your mind works. Okay, I think we're still together. So we're focusing on sugar today, carbohydrates. How are they broken down? The digestion of carbohydrates starts in the mouth. Your saliva has an enzyme called amylase. This is why we should not eat and drink at the same time. Because if you're eating a piece of bread and you wash it down with juice, what you're doing is you're not allowing your mouth to make saliva, and therefore that piece of bread, it actually arrives in your stomach undigested. It's supposed to be digested in your mouth. Actually, the longer you will chew a piece of starch or bread or whatever it is, carbohydrate, the sweeter it's supposed to become in your mouth, because you're breaking it down into simple sugars, your glucose, okay? So digestion starts in the mouth, so don't eat and drink. And then, interesting enough, carbohydrates, nothing much happens to them when they arrive in the stomach, because the stomach can be a bit too acidic for their digestion. They're just passing through. The next time they get digested, especially the complex carbohydrates, is when they arrive in the small intestine by amylase, but this amylase is pancreatic amylase because it comes from the pancreas. So it happens, I'm talking about chemical digestion, all right? In the mouth, it is both chemical and mechanical. In the stomach, it's just crushing, which is a mechanical digestion. Then in the small intestine, it is the chemical digestion. Why am I mentioning all of this? Well, I said like in your mouth, so that you know not to eat and drink. And in the small intestine, if you have a problem with your pancreas, you're going to have a problem with carbohydrates. So you need to be mindful of that. And that's why people who have diabetes, because it's a problem of the pancreas, they have a problem with dealing with carbohydrates. You will need to be guided in terms of how you're going to deal with your carbohydrates. Then once it's broken down in the small intestine, then the sugar will be absorbed into the blood. The speed with which the sugar is absorbed into the blood will affect obviously your blood sugar levels, especially if your pancreas is not working well. So you don't have insulin. That's why some people, after they eat a meal, their blood sugar levels will rise up to 20, 15, because their body is not able to adequately move the sugar from the blood into the cells fast enough. And this will happen especially if you eat simple sugars or sugars without fiber. What fiber does is it will hold the sugar and allow it to be let into your blood slowly over time so that you don't get a sugar spike. I know personally with me, if I eat white rice or too much white bread or white pasta, I will get a headache, a rush, and then I will crash because the sugar will go up. My body will deal with it. It will bring it down. And when it brings it down, my sugar will come too low and I will need to sleep. So, but when I eat, wholesome grains, then the sugar levels rise slowly. And as it gets used, it becomes steady. It never goes beyond normal levels. I spoke about soluble fiber, which is a resistant starch, which is what unripe bananas have, is digested in the colon by your bacteria. So literally when you eat that, you are feeding your bacteria, but guess what? You're going to feel full as it moves through your system. So this is going to also help you with controlling your weight. So that's very important. The insoluble fiber, this is like when you eat your lettuce, that's stuff that's not broken down. It comes out the same way that it goes in. It passes unchanged in the stool. It acts as a broom to clean and to also hold water so that when you go to the toilet, you don't have to push hard, you're not constipated, and you don't end up with complications like piles and diverticular disease and of the sugar on your gut, on the bacteria, not just the bacteria, actually, it's the microorganisms, because you also have yeast and fungi in your gut. If you're eating the good sugar, which is the simple sugar if you don't have diabetes, and the complex sugar and the resistant starch, leave the refined ones alone, like your chips, your potato chips, and your high corn fruit syrup, your white sugar, your white bread, your white rice. If you leave those alone and you take the fruits and your potatoes and your pumpkin and your legumes and your whole grains and your unripe bananas and your yams, if you're eating those kind of sugars, you will feed the beneficial organisms in your system. There are about 300 to 500 different species, not the amount, the different species, the different types of microorganisms in you are populated. It's like you are a world on your own with other organisms living on you. When these are fed with the right things, they will enhance your immune system. So your immune system will work better. So then you don't need to worry about COVID-19 because your immune system is being enhanced because you're feeding the organisms that already are beneficial to you. They will make neurotransmitters such as serotonin, as I said, 95% of it will be made. They will make things like vitamin B12. When people go on a plant-based diet, one of the reasons they're afraid is because plants don't have vitamin B12. That is true. Vitamin B12 is found in animal sources. But the reason for that is that if you look at a cow, when the cow eats the grass, the soluble fiber will be fed to the bacteria in the gut of the cow, and that will make vitamin B12, and the vitamin B12 will be stored in the muscle and in the liver of the cow. So the same for us human beings. As long as you have good bacteria in your gut, when you feed your good bacteria, it will make vitamin B12 for you, which will then go to your liver and it will go into your muscles. So you will have enough. If you're having low levels of vitamin B12, it could be because you don't have good good organisms in your system, or that you're stressed and you're using it up very fast, faster than you can make it, okay? So these good organisms will make vitamin B12, vitamin B6, they'll make folic acid, they'll make niacin, which is vitamin B3, and they will protect your body from harmful organisms. They will also protect the lining of your gut from harmful organisms. But when we take in the bad sugars, okay, I've mentioned them before, they will harm the diversity of your organisms. So instead of having between 300 to 500 different species, you'll probably have things like, all right, Rosalia, I see your hand. We'll take the questions. I'm about to finish now. You'll probably have organisms like Candida. You've had people having Candida in their system, thrush. What happens to those people? They crave even more sugar. So you will affect the diversity of the organisms. This will affect your immune system, which can lead to autoimmune disorders. That's why we say a lot of diseases, those that don't start in the mind, actually then start in your gut, okay? The harmful, if you don't have good diversity, the bad sugar in itself will damage the gut cells and lead to inflammation of the gut. So things like gastritis and colitis. This is inflammation in the gut, which can lead to a leaky gut. I don't know if people have heard of a leaky gut syndrome. The cells of your gut are supposed to be tight like this so that they don't just allow any and everything to go in. When there's inflammation and damage to the gut, they become like that. And matter that is not supposed to pass from your gut into your blood start leaking through, okay? And this will cause damage. I will show you on the other slide. So it can lead to leaky gut and malabsorption. And also, if you don't have the good microorganisms, the bad ones, they're not concerned with you. So they will not make the vitamin B12. They will not make the vitamin B6 or the vitamin B3. They will not protect you against other harmful ones. Actually, they will multiply and there'll be more of them. And this can affect your nutrition, but most importantly, can affect your mood. I'm telling you, if you're suffering from a lot of anxiety, just have a look at your diet and you may realize that it is what you're eating that's affecting your mood, and I will show you how. Some of the signs of an unhealthy gut, an upset gut, if you're having a lot of gas and bloating, constipation, diarrhea, and heartburn. Increased sugar cravings, as I said, the bad organisms which feed on the bad sugar will make you crave for more sugar so that they can feed itself. So now this becomes an ongoing cycle. You can also have unintentional weight changes because your gut is not able to absorb nutrients. Okay, so a person may find that they're losing weight even though they're not trying, or they're eating a lot and they're just not gaining weight. So you're eating, but it's not nourishing you. If you're suffering from constant fatigue, irritability, and anxiety, we never think the problem is the gut. We always think the problem is the mind. A lot of people are in psychiatric institutions who just need to change their diet, right? A healthy gut with a balanced bacteria will make, as I will keep repeating this, 95% of your serotonin. We've seen people's anxieties come down simply by changing what it is they eat. And you will feel fatigue, irritability, and anxiety if that is not balanced. Skin irritations. A lot of the times you want to treat the skin from the outside, but the problem could be actually in your gut. As I mentioned, the leaky gut will have chemicals from the food leaking into your bloodstream and proteins leaking into your bloodstream, which were not supposed to be there, which in turn will cause general body inflammation and can lead to also eczema, psoriasis, and all those other skin diseases. I've already mentioned autoimmune disease because an unhealthy gut will cause general inflammation, which affects the functioning of the immune system. So your body starts attacking itself and not the enemy that's supposed to attack. And then also food intolerances. There are people who says, I cannot eat cabbage. The problem is not the cabbage. The problem is the person's system. So if you have a lot of food intolerances, we need to look at your gut. It's probably not healthy and therefore it's not able to digest things that it's supposed to be able to digest. What are the effects on the brain? We've seen how sugar affects the gut. Now we want to see how all of this affects the brain. Now, people then go on a carb-free diet. That is not what I recommend. Glucose is the primary fuel for the brain. Your brain works best on glucose, so on sugar. So we don't need to be afraid of sugar, but if it's the wrong quality or the wrong amount, then it will affect our brain. And remember, if it affects our brain, it's going to affect our thinking. So abnormal blood sugar levels will affect the function of the brain. So whether the sugar is too high or too low, somebody with blood sugar levels that are too low, they will talk nonsense. And if you don't know them, you will think that's just how they are. I had a patient in front of me. We were having a very good conversation, and then he started becoming a little bit passive aggressive, and he was talking nonsensically. But I knew he was a diabetic, and when I checked his blood sugar levels, it was 0.6. This person was literally about to die. They had no sugar in them. So this is what I'm saying. It doesn't matter how bright he was or what he knew, his consciousness was gone, and he was just talking other things. So I needed to correct his body first before I could engage with his mind. Inflammation. If you have the wrong kind of sugar, it will cause inflammation not only in the brain, in your other body parts, but I'm focusing on the brain, and it can cause plaques on your nerve cells, which can lead to Alzheimer's. So Alzheimer's is not a disease of old age. It is that over time, with the bad diet and the plaques that have been forming, this is what's causing disease. And the wrong kind of sugar will lead to addiction by hijacking the reward system of the brain. It's rare that you'll find somebody addicted to apples. Okay, no matter how much you like apples, you will eat apples, but you will not feel addicted to them. But when it comes to sugar, you can actually have withdrawal symptoms. So that is what happens. So it makes it difficult. So you need to assess yourself and see, do I like sugar, or have I become addicted to it in my brain? Or is the bad bacteria in my gut telling me to eat more sugar? So that you need to know how you can get the help to deal with all of that. Yes, and that is the end of my presentation. Literally the last slide, I think it didn't say, was saying, we need to, I need to stop sharing. We need to then look at what changes do we need to make in our diet so that we can have better working brains. All right. So Jay, I will hand over back to you.
Admin.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kumoso. Pastor Edward.
Is Jason there?
I am,
Yes.
Pastor.
There's quite a few questions in the chat.
Yeah.
I am. Thank you, Dr. Komoto, for such a wonderful presentation. You know, this type of knowledge, we mustn't take it for granted. Eh? It's
No.
key. It's very, very, very important. You know, and you know, as we go, just share with your family and your friends these things, man. I mean, remember, without our health, really, guys, seriously, think about it. When your health is gone, everything has to hold until that gets fixed. It is sad when that happens. So if there's one thing that we should really take concentration of and diligent action, it is to do with our health, because without it, we don't do much. And as you can see from Dr. Komoso's presentation, even when you might be walking around seemingly physically well, your brain might be working wrong in your decision making and your thought patterns. And the truth of the matter is, because you don't have nothing intervening with it, you are under conviction that you're correct, when in fact, you might be totally wrong. That's one of the worst things that can happen to somebody's mind, to think that you're perfectly right when you're perfectly wrong. You know, so it's very important that we start with our health. And it's here is a situation where, is it the end before the chicken, the egg before the chicken, or the chicken before the egg? In other words, is it the brain before the tummy, or the tummy before the brain? We need to look at that. And I think it is very clear that without the nutrients and the proper functioning of the digestive system, well, the brain will suffer. So we need to get that right. So thank you very much, Dr. Komotso. Pastor Sterling, I'm going to hand over to you and Jonathan in regards to the question and how you put them. Thank you very much.
Okay. Pastor Edwards, I'd just like to acknowledge something that someone put in the chat, Michael M. The benefit that he received from the program thus far. He said, just want to thank everyone, especially those who have advised me on what to take for a chest infection I had back in April. I was told to boil onion, garlic, and drink. Also bulb onion as potent on the chest. Also turmeric, cayenne pepper, ginger. I have recovered greatly. Thank God. Thank you guys for your ministry. God bless.
Yes. I've got a point here from someone who was making a point about the COVID-19. He said, so telling people to stay indoors is a negative that feeds the monster. Is that care? Because we need the vitamin D in our bodies, but then they're telling us to stay inside. So how can we get around this?
It is true. It is true. Yeah, inside is not the best thing for it. For more than just the vitamin D issue, you know, you don't get so much of the atmospheric fresh air moving around in the home. There's other things there. There's furniture that's giving off fumes. There's bottles and stuff that's breaking down. And these toxins over time, they do concentrate your system, those bit by bit. So it's always wise to get outside to get not only the vitamin C, but oxygen in your lung. And you know that this virus, it attacks your lungs. So vitamin D, sorry, it's outside, yes. But also just generally being outside is going to be very beneficial to somebody, to everybody rather. Mm-hmm.
Would you advise them to take any vitamin D supplements when we haven't got any sun?
Come on, sir.
Absolutely. Jay, I wanted to give an example of 2 weeks ago. We saw one of our patients who we last saw, I think about a month or two ago. When she came to us, her vitamin D levels were 23. Just to give a picture, you want to have levels above 20, at least 30. And during this time of COVID, in less than 2 months, her levels have gone down from 23 to 6 because she's been indoors all along. So now that is not a good state to be. So she is more immunocompromised. So what we decided to do for her, because her work demands that she be indoors and meeting during this time, is that we have put her on vitamin D supplements. But if you can get out into the sun, absolutely do that. And if you can have your levels checked so that you know just what you need to do, then do that as well.
Right.
There's another question from Edgar. My question for Jason, regarding your comment on different soil, do you have an explanation for why it is that Black and Asian people have COVID-19 have a higher rate of mortality than Caucasian people when it comes to hospitalization in the UK and US?
It might well have to do with the vitamin D issue, because here in Africa, South Africa and most of the African countries, if you go on World Meter, you will see that, yes, the infection rates are high, but the mortality rates are very low in comparison to England and the rest. And I don't know if it's totally that, but I believe definitely the vitamin D exposure that you get in Africa is much better than you get in the UK. That might well be a big contributing factor in regards to mortality, Edgar. In South Africa, I look at the rates every week, and I'm still, it's going up, yes. But if you look at how it's going up, it's very slow in comparison to what we have seen in the US and the UK for those who have been in hospital. Most people are actually getting, more people, quite a lot more is getting better than those who are dying. So yeah, that might be the vitamin D content in that regards, because I know England and America, they don't have vitamin D in that content, no.
Right, okay, thanks. I've got a question here. What are the benefits of drinking cayenne pepper regular?
You want to answer that? Go on, Doc, answer that question. Cayenne pepper, yeah.
Cayenne pepper, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, cayenne pepper has a compound, capsicum, which helps to keep the consistency of the blood right. So it thins the blood. It's funny, just on Thursday night, I was on a group with doctors about how COVID-19 affects the blood, and it's been shown to cause clotting of the blood. And the normal treatment in the medical world, which is anti-clotting treatment, anticoagulation treatment, actually cause a lot of bleeding, but you won't get that with cayenne pepper. Also, cayenne pepper is good for repairing damage in your gut, as in your stomach wall. Yes, you'll get a burning sensation when you first drink it. If you just put an ice pack over your stomach, that should help with that. Also, cayenne pepper is a good, what do you call it? It's a good, because it improves the circulation. If you're adding it to other herbs, it facilitates the movement of the other herbs as well. So absolutely, it's good to drink it in a tea regularly, especially during this time with COVID-19 and coagulation issues.
And it's got vitamin C in there. And also, with the cayenne, guys, in South Africa, the quality, from my experience and what I know, is not the best. Yes, it's here, but if you could find a good source, better yet. I think Nature's Choice does a good source. However, they have different grades. And for those of you guys in the UK, you go to a health store, you're gonna be able to get different grades of this cayenne pepper. So you can get a different IU. You can tell by the IU mean international units. They have from 90 to 100, 100,000. You'll be able to see. The higher it is, it's gonna be more spicy. It will burn you up.
Yeah.
Under the TV.
Just like to say, guys, that I myself have supplied cayenne pepper to a customer few weeks ago, and the report that came back is the best cycle she ever had in 40 years.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
There's another question from Paul. He said, what can you take to improve your gut bacteria health?
Doc, you can take that.
All right. So firstly, the first thing is you need to stop the things that's damaging your good bacteria. So the refined sugars, not only the refined sugars, fried foods as well. Then and if you're on antibiotics, you need to finish your course of antibiotics. You can go on probiotics and prebiotics. So you can buy those from the shops, but we prefer if you use food as your medicine. So if you do your fermented grains, we need to talk about fermentation, because I know a lot of people don't like hearing the word fermentation. They think alcohol. Not everything that is fermented makes alcohol as a byproduct, okay? Your gut, your large colon ferments things in itself. So fermentation is something that happens in your body, and the byproduct is not always alcohol. So if you ferment cabbage, it's a powerful source. It has 50,000 units of bacteria, which is far more than you'll ever be able to get in a pill from a store. And those good organisms will be the one that comes from your own environment. So maybe the next time we'll do a presentation on how to ferment sauerkraut. But people, you can Google that and find that. So it's not just, you can pretty much ferment anything. The acidic taste that you get is actually lactic acid. It's not vinegar. And that is actually good for your stomach. Remember, your stomach is acidic. And as we get older, we don't make as much acid as before, and therefore our digestion becomes limited. So if you're eating that kind of fermented food, you will see your bloated stomach will come down. You will not have so much gas. It's just beautiful. That's how you increase your good bacteria. Once you've eaten to put in the good bacteria, you must then feed the good bacteria. So what do you use to feed the good bacteria? The resistant starch. And your normal starch, if you're eating yam and potatoes, don't eat them hot. Yes, when they're hot, they have simple sugars. They easily get broken down and absorbed into your blood. If you allow them to cool, part of them become like resistant starch, and that is going to feed your bacteria. So this habit of eating food hot, that you can't even close your mouth is not a good practice. It damages your cells, but it also limits the amount of resistant starch that you have. So I hope that answers. Stop the things that's causing your bacteria to disappear, the food. Put in the probiotics, whether you buy the pills or you ferment your own food, and then feed your good bacteria with resistant starches.
Okay, thanks. I've got a question here from John. It says, my mom is on reflux medication due to indigestion. Other than changing her diet, what can she take to replace the medication? She's off most meat and dairy and white bread.
So, Doc, you want to answer that? I didn't hear the question. I was preoccupied answering another question. I didn't hear. I was answering another question.
That's all right, Jay. Definitely she needs to change the diet. The very three things that the person mentioned are the greatest cause of reflux and digestive issues. So she needs to come off those things. Then I don't know how old she is and I don't know how bad it is. For about a week, she needs to go on a simple diet, you know, eating things like pawpaw, even if it's semi-ripe, that helps with digestive issues. Like I said, drinking cayenne pepper as a tea, but I don't know how much you would be able to take or tolerate. So that's another way to help heal the digestive lining. And eating simple things like your oats. That's what she would need to do. And then she won't need the medication, because what the medication does is it lowers the acid in your stomach, but you're supposed to have acid in your stomach. If you completely get rid of the acid in your stomach, you are likely to end up with bad bacteria in your stomach, like H. pylori, which then creates another situation. So perhaps, depending on where you are, find if there's any of the medical missionaries in your area that can give you a specific diet for your mom, because depending on the level of severity that she has.
Okay, that's good. Right, there's a good question here actually. How do you check for the different vitamins within your body? Vitamin D, for instance. How do you know whether or not you've got enough vitamin D within your body?
Okay, generally, there's different tests that you can do. What was that, Jonathan? Okay, all right. There's different tests that one can do. As Dr. Komotso mentioned a little while ago, that you know, somebody came in, we had a blood test showing what their vitamin D levels were, and then afterwards we did another blood test which was able to show us. So blood tests can do so. There's different clinics around the UK and also in South Africa, from what I'm understanding, that they can do this for you. But to just go to your doctor, and if you got a good relationship with them, just ask them that you want to check your vitamin D levels. That's it. And they can just simply do that for you. Don't take long.
Okay, right. Someone is asking, is it true that aloe gel has vitamin B12 in it? Is that true?
Say again?
Aloe 12.
Aloe gel.
12, yeah, aloe 12 gel has vitamin B12
I
in
don't
it.
know. I've heard it before, but what I do know, and it's possible, I'm not saying no, it's not a research that I've done, but I've heard that before, but I haven't done no research on it. What I do know though, when you have like this garden that we have out here, and the leaves, they have this coating on it. They're supposed to be, from what research is saying, there's like a bacteria on the leaf, and that also is B12. Okay, so you can, if you don't wash it, you will get a level of B12, and your body don't need a lot of B12. Yeah, not brushing your teeth in the morning when you wake up, you will have some B12 in your mouth, the bacteria. So that will also help you with your B12.
Okay.
Doc, you have anything else on that?
Yeah, I think we worry a lot about B12, but like I said, if you feed the gut, if you feed the bacteria in your gut, it will make B12 for you, and you will store that in your stomach. I mean, you'll store that in your liver, and you'll store that in your muscles. A lot of the time, the reason we don't have sufficient vitamin B12 is because we're stressed so much, so we use it up very quickly. So that's what you need to deal with. Deal with your stress, feed your bacteria, and your body will make vitamin B12. And with regards to the test that you can do, it's not all vitamins that you can test, okay? So some of them, the doctor will say that they can't do the test for them, and some of them are just too expensive. It's just not worth it. Like your vitamin Bs and your vitamin Cs, those you need on a daily basis anyway, because they're not stored in your body. So you just need to make sure that you're taking them. But like Jay said, the vitamin D is very easy to check the levels in the blood.
Okay. Have we got any more questions, please?
Somebody asked about the smoothie or something, right? Victor they asked about how do you make the smoothie? So look,
yeah, they
Victor,
want the recipe, yes.
yes, look, go ahead, Victor.
All right. I mentioned during the presentation that when you make a porridge, you obviously boil it, steam it, as I was saying. But then I would advise, if you're making a smoothie, at least after you've cooked it, like in the class, remember I showed you that you can drink it like this, and mix it with your protein shake, and then you can just add it with your grinded seeds. You can add it with your whatever you want to put. So a smoothie is advisable after cooking it at this consistency, at this texture. So remember the class. So because of the amount of starch there, it would affect your throat and all that. So I think if you make a smoothie, you can just cook it like this, and then you can add it in your blender with your seeds and with your whatever that you want to add. Then it can be a very powerful smoothie for you.
And that's with the green banana.
Yeah, with the green banana. I was talking about the green banana, because this is a green banana cooked in this consistency, you know. So if you want to make a smoothie, you can make it from this consistency to what you want to have. So
Okay.
rather than just blending it like that without cooking it.
Okay. Can I see any hands? Any more questions on this before we move on? Any more questions? No hands? If we haven't got any more questions, Jonathan, I'm gonna hand over to you now to carry on with your presentation.
So thank you, Pastor Edwards, and I think I can hear myself. Thank you, and thank you everybody for staying with us. We have a presentation, but a lot of what we've got, the doctor already covered it. So
right.
we'll put the presentation up, and we'll go through a bit of it. But we've been going for 7 weeks now, like Jason pointed out earlier.
Yes.
And we really want to make it more practical so people can actually benefit from it. So what we are proposing this week is to have a challenge, 1 week challenge, and a sugar week challenge. And we just want to present some stuff and put the challenge out, and by God's grace, you know, we all will take it up. So if I'm just going to share my screen.
And as Jonathan's doing that, you know, just always be encouraged. You know, you know, it's they have an old saying says, "Not the same day Rome was built. It didn't build in 1 day." So let us take our time and do things bit by bit by bit. It is no rush. We just need to make it a part of our lifestyle. Just carry on. Just carry on doing what's good. Your health and your well-being will come together. Ultimately, you're gonna be healthier. You know what I mean? Don't wait until you're sick. And if you're sick, just make these changes. Don't stress yourself about it. Just do what you can, how you have learned it, and just do it. Do it. By God's grace, just give yourself time. Some of us, you will get immediate results. Some of us, you're not gonna get immediate, but you know you are on the right path. Stay there. In time, you will get better and better and better, even though if it's a slow remedy. Yes, Jonathan, thanks. You can go ahead.
Sorry, guys, I should let you know also that my wife is here to help me, and she will be doing some practical demonstrations. So you can see my screen, can't you?
Yes.
So we had all those slides up, but we're not going to go through those. So we're just going to go straight into the
Let's do this.
Let's do this. So I've got Shirlene here, and she's going to demonstrate right now for you guys. I don't know if you can see her there.
Hello, everyone. I'm just doing a quick example of one of the drinks that we might maybe in the past may have drunk or maybe drinking now, and just showing just regarding the sugar within one of the drinks. So this one is orange squash. So it says 100 ml, which is here, of the squash. I just put it with water. 100 ml has got 7.8 grams. So I'm just going to weigh it out.
Let me pour it. Here, Joseph.
All right, so 7.8. Need to measure it. 0. Okay. Next up. One more. Bit more.
Who's that helping you, Shirley?
Jonathan.
Oh. I thought it was one of your little helpers.
No, they're not helping me today.
All right.
Well, Joseph is. He's holding it. But these scales need to go on something flat. Sorry.
All right.
My poof is not really working properly. Just pass my sugar, please.
So you're gonna show us how much is seven point whatever
Yeah, 7
grams.
grams of the
Okay.
sugar.
So when we drink one little cup of this thing, this is how much sugar we put in through our system.
Exactly. This is how much. So this is how much sugar is around 7 grams. You can't really see it that much.
Right.
That's a lot of sugar,
That's
man.
7 grams in this. Oh, you want to pour it? Go on then. Of 100 ml of squash. So you can see the sugar is floating around. There it does it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that is sugar. So I'm just wondering if anybody would drink this.
It will be too sweet.
Yes. So that's how much it is for that little bit amount of water. Well, cordial. Even with the Coke, I think Coke is 1.5 grams more or 2 grams more sugar with this amount of water.
Wow.
Of 100 ml.
And that is with orange squash.
That's with orange squash, yes.
Right.
But within the cordials as well, it also has I don't know what chemical it is. Maybe Jason or the doctor would know. That can cause cancer as well.
Aspartame.
So aspartame, that's it. So it's not good cordials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's full of sugar, and then it's got a chemical that causes cancer as well. So that's what we wanted to show you, and then hopefully, people can join.
Hopefully, you will be encouraged to take up the challenge. So here's the challenge. So we want to stay away from avoid dessert, chocolates, biscuits, cakes, sweets, sweetened and fizzy drink, juice.
And Bavera. Jonathan.
Yes, sir.
You're making life difficult.
It meant to be a challenge.
We'll take the challenge with full force. When does the challenge start, Jonathan?
So hopefully we can start first thing in the morning.
All right,
or better yet, tonight.
We've got to cut all those out. No sweet.
So what can we replace them with? Fresh whole fruits, especially berries, limited dry fruits without added sugar. Please check the label though, because handful of sorry.
Check the label because it's got
sorry,
sugar
my
on it. It's because you can't see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it just.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Check the label, etc. It may have harmful sugar in it. A handful or a couple of dates per day. A maximum 1 teaspoon of honey or maple syrup. Those are the alternatives that we can use. Can you do it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll try.
1 week, no treat, healthy mind, healthy body.
Yes.
What's the answer? Yes, we can.
Yes.
There's an encouraging text, Philippians
Yes.
4:13. It says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. I
Right.
would like to see a show of hands or something for those who are willing to take up the challenge. Maybe you could just raise your hand in the chat or something.
I raise my
Yes.
hand on my video here. We will
Yeah.
take up that challenge full hand
We'll
with
take
one
it
hand.
up. Yes, yes.
Just to also let you guys know that within this challenge, we won't leave you alone. I mean, to do it by yourself. We'll be supporting you over in the WhatsApp group. So
Right.
daily we will be put something there. I can see John, my good friend Brent has raised his hand. Thank you, Brent. So we'll be supporting you on the WhatsApp group. We'll be giving you tips. I mean, every now and then we'll try and post a recipe, something that you can make that will be sweet, but no artificial sugar.
No artificial. What are the changes are we looking for then, Jonathan? What we'll be able to notice after a week?
So after a week, we hopefully will be noticing that we have more energy.
More energy.
Yep.
Okay.
We should be looking forward for that. For people that may be on a lot of sweet, they probably experience something different. Am I correct, Doc?
Doc.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those who are on very high sugars, you may have withdrawal symptoms, but that's why we're saying replace with the healthy sugars. If you have your cereal, add some banana to it. Blend some dates. I think they will show you throughout the week and use that as a sweetener. But you will find your taste buds will change in time. And if you drink lemon water in the morning, that actually helps with your taste buds. But you'll have a clearer mind as time is going on. The aches and pains in your body normally subside because that's sugar with inflammation. So don't try it. Just do it. Just let your mind tell your body, no, we will not do this. It's just 7 days. What it does, it strengthens your will. When you've made a choice and you stick to it, it makes it easier in future to stick to your choices. So it's not just for your body, it's for your mind as well. So if you feel like eating something, go for a run. I'm gonna have my chocolate cake tonight.
I already had it. Sorry. We ate that chocolate cake for dessert today. We ate that. We make sure we save you, Doc. We know that you was gonna have the challenge. So
We know that you was gonna have the challenge.
I don't need to be saved except by Jesus.
Yeah.
Jonathan, can I just say something?
Yes, Edgar, you may.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Jonathan, can you remember when we did the CHIP program?
Yes, that's right.
And although this isn't like the CHIP program, it's similar in the sense that you're starving yourself from something that's not good.
Yes.
And yes, there's going to be challenges, but I think you'll find at the end of the week, if you go back and taste something that you would normally have, you'll really realize how sweet it is.
Right.
You follow through. And I'm sure Jason could back me up on that.
Yes, man. For real. You know what? Also, Jonathan and everybody. So this week, as you go through it, give it a good go, eh? Give it a good go. If you cheat, you must testify. I'm joking. But give it a good go.
A bit of confession is good for the soul, Jason.
but hopefully, Jason, we hope that next week, next week, guys, we hope that you would, a lot of people would have come back with good results, have good results, and testify to how that goes.
Yes, and next week we'll have phase 2. This is going to be an ongoing challenge. This is the first. It's a 7-week challenge. The next 7 weeks will be going from sugar. We will announce next week which one it is, and so on and so forth. So if next week, when we announce the next one, you continue on your sugar reduction and the sugar replacement, in addition to the next thing that we will give you as a challenge, so that you'll be doing sugar restriction plus more or plus whatever restriction, what the next challenge would be. Then on 3rd week, you'll be having 3 things under your belt as you go forth. So literally, we are taking you through step by step, day by day, to a healthier lifestyle. As I said, it's 7 weeks. We come to a point where things have got to change. And this is where it becomes practical. You know, it's like when God, according to the biblical account, he says, let there be, let there be. And then on the 7th, he said, it's over. It's time to start now. So let's get ready. We've given instructions now. Let's get ready and put it in action. And let's get healthy together and happy together and just be a blessing to our families, our community. And just enjoy this life that the Almighty has given us to the fullest that we can.
Amen.
Amen.
I think, guys, if there's no more question, no more hand or anything, I think we just about come to the end of our show. Yeah. It seems as though you guys don't want to go, though.
Jonathan, really quick before we go, I know me and you are talking. So as we move on, as we said, we are at the 7-week junction. We're going to be changing. So there's a few changes that will be in effect as we go throughout the week. It is an informal announcement, but we will announce it even more so as we go. And as we go, we will be changing, you know, different aspect of how we're doing things in the group, so we can become more knit together and we can have a more practical experience with this walk of health, as I just said, in our home. And this is a first phase. As you see, we're given the first challenge, next week the second. So there's changes that will come up. And as the group is expanding, and we have seen the truth of it, Mr. Sterling, the truth is, it's good when we have men health, and it's good when we have women health. But let me say this, I see that it is better when we have family health. We have family. And so one of the aspects that we will be bringing in, we want to merge man and woman health, but we will have specific days where we said, this is men day, and the woman will have the option to sit out or join in. But we don't want to take that option upon ourselves. We want to say, guys, we're going to be speaking about these topics as men. All right, you're sure you can support your partner, you can support all of us, but this is what we're going to be speaking about primarily for men. But like today, it's information that affect both men and women, and we will be doing this more. So as we evolve, we'll be even our domain name, we will change it to encompass more people, more, and make it more of a family domain of health rather than just a man. But we will have specific days where we'll advertise it is going to be Men Day, and specific days where we'll advertise it's going to be Women Day, and specific day where we look at what? Children's health. We must not forget the children's health. They are the future. They are the future, and we know that it's in the younger years that we set foundation for which the superstructure must be built. So if we neglect the children's health at a nutritional level, we are creating weak frames for them to build a future. And our kids will live at 30 years old and they'll be sick as when we are at 70 right now. Generations will get weaker and weaker. So we will not forget the children's health. That's a new aspect. And that is mommy, daddy, children, everybody needs to be involved. So that's, as we evolve, Pastor Sterling, this is how we're looking at doing it. And I pray that we all stick together, work together, and become healthy together. I mean, look, money cannot pay for health. Let's get that in our head. Nothing can take the place of health. Health is fundamental that everything else functions on. So let us look after health. And that's important. That's what we are about. We want to make it grand and great. And when me and Dr. Camoso and Victor come to England, we're going to have a great one-day seminars and everybody's invited. And we're going to make it a wonderful time. So let's work towards it. We'll take South Africa to you. And then when we have enough money, we'll bring England to us. Until then, let us do it stage by stage. May God bless you all. It's wonderful to be able to share with you all on this platform. Me, myself, Dr. Camoso, and Victor Koza, who is right here with me. We're here. We want to give all we have. We want to receive all you got. We want to be a blessing as the Lord has blessed us to you, and also you be a blessing to us. So once again, be encouraged, be strong. Let's see how long. You know, there's a phrase that says, Pastor Sterling, do as I say, don't do as I do. I'm not going to say that today. I'm not going to say that today. I'm going to say to you, I want to do as you're doing. Let's challenge this thing together. Let's challenge it together and have a wonderful week. We'll support you And by God's grace, we'll have a wonderful week. Next week, we'll have a moment of testimonies. You can talk about your experience of not, restriction. So we'll have a moment for that. The first half hour of the show, we'll do it like that. May God bless you. Jonathan, it's yours. Pastor Sterling, thank you very much.
Yes. So I just want to add to that, Jason, and say thanks for all the medical missionaries who have given up all their time to give us this wonderful examples and information that they've shared with us over the weeks, free of charge, and it is a blessing that we can tap into this area. It's really up that at the moment we are in this pandemic where we're talking about different areas and different issues, and also this other pandemic where Black Lives Matters. So so this is just coming on stream really with Black Lives Matters. Whatever we can use to improve our lives, let's stick to it, and let's continue to support this wonderful platform that is set up and giving us this free advice. So thank you all very much for all your support, and thank you for joining in. And thanks to you guys and the team who have presented us so willingly over the past few weeks, and I hope we can keep this going until such a time. So may God bless you all, and thank you for joining. Have we got Chris Higgins? Chris? No?
Yes, yes, I'm here. Yes.
Oh, Chris, yeah. Can you just close us in prayer, please?
Yeah, sure. Let's pray.
Yeah, thank
Dear
you.
Father in heaven, Lord, we just want to thank you once again for our help. You are our health and our life, Lord, our strength. We thank you so much for this program today and for all the presenters. And we thank you, Lord, for allowing us to hear such information that can benefit us and that we can grow together and help one another. And I pray, Lord, that you'll be in the center of our thoughts and that you will direct our paths as we go forward. The Bible says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not on thy own understanding, but acknowledge him in all thy ways and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thy own conceit. Depart from evil and do good. So help us, Father, to do this. Please bless us. Bless every person on the call today. Please help them to take up the challenge, Lord, and improve their health. And we pray that all things will be done to your honor and glory. For we ask in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty.
Good night and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you,
Take
Pastor
care.
Sterling.
Bye.
Yeah, take care.
See you next
God
week,
bless you.
Sugar Challenge.
Yes, see you next week with the challenge and the results.
Yes.